In our last video with our dirt cheap LS build, I had some parts on order and some of them came in, and I ain't opened the boxes yet. Hopefully I ordered the right stuff. So we got our intake, oil pan, lifters, I think that's oil pump, bearings, rings, little barbell thing, and I got to find out what this is. So I'm gonna get these opened up and check and see if we got the right stuff. Okay, it looks like I got the right stuff. The intake is for the cathedral heads, and this gives it the old school look. Put a throttle body here and your injector rails there. Paint the whole thing Chevy orange and cover it up with a old school type air cleaner. So looks like everything else is gonna be right. Came with all the bolts for the oil pan, oil sump, dipstick, got the oil pump, all the bearings and the rings, and this was the head bolts. I forgot I ordered them. And I got the little barbell thing. So I guess I can go ahead and start putting together the lower end. Of course, I got to get it tore down, cleaned up, do a little honing. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get busy with that. Okay, got the crank out and the main caps, and these LS main caps, they really stick in there. This adjustable type pry bar works really good. You just give it a little bump on one side, go to the other side, and they'll pop right loose. There's really expensive tools that pry on both sides at the same time, but this works. I think get it at Harbor Freight. So now I think I'm gonna get the cam out and hone it first, because that's gonna make a mess, then clean the block. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this cam out. That gasket's squished. Okay, came out quite nicely. Okay, I get these lifters out of here and we'll have it pretty much stripped down. So, let's see. These are gonna cooperate. Oh, a couple of lifters wanted to come out too. All right. Yep, none of them wanted to come out with that one. Oh, wow, all 4 of them came out. Awesome. Okay, let's see if we can fit. No. Can't seem to get my hand up in there. There it goes. I think I'll get some pliers. That'll be easier. Okay, these are one of my little favorite little pair of pliers. Well, that one fell out. Yep. It's right out of there. I think this one's going to go out the bottom. Yeah, just keep on going. Okay. I think that's all of them. Okay, now we can see if we can find the hone and just do a really light hone on here. Okay, looks like it cleaned up with just a couple of minutes of honing. The little bit of the crosshatch is still in there, but they're kind of getting slick, so looks like that'll work. Just a really light hone. So gotta let my drill cool down and then I can go ahead and do the other side. Okay, yesterday I finished honing the other side and then I decided to do a little cleaning and I discovered something very disturbing. 2 big old cracks. So basically what we have here is scrap metal. So I went on Facebook Marketplace, kind of just looking for a block. And less than 10 miles away, wouldn't you know it, somebody had a LS block for sale, and I got pretty much the whole motor. Pair of heads, coils, wiring harness, computer, bucket of bolts, exhaust manifolds, AC compressor, power steering pump, the truck oil pan, and an engine block. So it seems to be seized up, but we got a good rotating assembly out of the other motor. So I'm gonna get that scrap metal off of my engine stand and put this on it and commence to tearing it down and hope that this one's gonna work. So we're gonna get going on that. Okay, she's sure enough locked up, but if that crankshaft is good, which I know, Between the two motors, I think we can make a good one. So I think I'm gonna spin her around, take this back cover off, get the little barbell out of there before I put it on the engine stand, and we'll commence to tearing it down, and hopefully she won't give us too much trouble coming apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and get going on this. Okay, one thing for sure, I'm gonna have plenty of bolts. Okay, we got her up on the engine stand, and first thing I want to do is start popping pistons out and maybe even loosen up the main cap, see if we can get it to rotate, and hope that it didn't spin a bearing in the main caps. If it didn't, we're good. If it did, well, then we got more scrap metal. So I'm gonna go ahead and start popping pistons out. Okay, we got it tore down, and it's not good, but it may not be bad. This one ground up the crank but did not spin. This one spun. And I looked at the main journal, and it doesn't really look like it hurt it. I think once that one locked up, it didn't turn much more, but we'll have to see. I'll have to bolt that down and do a little measuring and see if it's usable. So I'm going to go ahead and get this balancer off the front cover, get this scrap metal out of here, pull the cam out, clean it up, and see what we got. Okay, I've got the main cap in question, and when I first looked at it, I saw all these scratch marks, and I thought, oh man, it's spun in there. But then I started looking at the rest of them. That's machining marks. And once I got it tore down, I started looking at the block, and I was like, okay, which one spun? I had to go look at the junk crankshaft over there to find out it was number 2. I think it's gonna be fine. Call me stupid, but I guess this will make for good content. You're gonna have to watch the rest of the series to see if it blows up or seizes. But I'm gonna run with it, and you know, I'm gonna put it on the engine stand and crank it up and run it before we put it in anything. Eventually it's going in that jalopy, and it's gonna be painted up Chevy orange and made to look like old school. So if it runs good on the engine stand, and when I crank down on the main caps and spin the crankshaft, if it feels good, I'm just going with it. Call me stupid, but it's not stupid if it works. So I'm gonna start honing this and doing a little bit of cleanup. Okay, we got it all honed out, and would you look at that? Just like a machine shop did it. Just like downtown. I'm sure they're egg-shaped and probably way out, but that's the fun of doing a junkyard build. You know, if you don't put a lot of money into it, if it blows up, oh well, you know? It just takes the fun out of it when you want to make it perfect. So, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do a little more cleaning so that we can get it ready to assemble. Okay, after a few cans of oven cleaner and a good pressure washing, we got it about halfway there to being clean. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a wire wheel and clean up all the gasket surfaces and maybe get a little bit of the gunk off in the nooks and crannies, and that way we can go ahead and start putting it together. I think I need to switch batteries. Okay, did I leave any specs on there? Oh, right there. I have to get that. Yeah, the rest of it looks pretty clean. Gotta get all the old gasket junk off of there so you get a good seal. Well, I'm gonna hit that one spot. Okay, it's the next weekend, and we hauled this block down to the machine shop so they could put in new cam bearings. These ones, they got huge oil galleys in them. The original ones, they were just little tiny holes. So now we can go ahead and get the cam in there before we go put the crank in. But first, I want to clean out these lifter holes, and got this wire brush. I use a little brake cleaner. Just get any gunk that might be in there, and then we'll blow it all down and lube up the cam and stick it in there. Nice and clean. Okay, got the cam cleaned up and she's going in. A little more assembly lube. Got a bearing that's kind of stuck. A little more lube. tight. Well, she's gonna go, there she goes. Okay. Kind of wiped off all the assembly lube in here. Put a little more. And a little here. There she goes. All right. Now that we got our gasket set, we can get the little seal that seals up here. Okay, just as I suspected, the gasket set didn't come with this retainer plate seal. You have to get the whole thing. So we ran to the auto parts store and got one. And pretty cool. It comes with new screws and Loctite. And meanwhile, while I was waiting, I got the crankshaft cleaned up as good as I could. With a wire wheel and a Scotch-Brite pad. There was all kinds of junk flaking off of them. And cleaned up the main caps. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the main bearings in and get the bolts run down and see how the crank spins. The number 2 is the suspect one. It had the spun bearing, but like I was saying earlier, it doesn't even look like it gouged it out or anything. It just looks like all the rest of them. So we will see. Okay, I got all the bearings in and all the bolts lubed up and run down with the little electric ratchet. And so far, she spins freely, even number 2. So we'll see. Now, I'm going to go ahead and torque them down and then see if it still spins freely. So, I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Okay, 15 foot-pounds the first pass. Okay, we'll get the rest of these torqued down and then we got to go 80 and 50. Okay, went 80 degrees on the inners, which is about yay, and 53 on the outers, which is a little past 45. And she spins like butter. Yeah. Number 2, it didn't look bad. And I don't think it is bad. Of course, it always could blow up. So, I think we're good here. We just got to put the side bolts in with a little bit of sealant. And we'll be done with the crank. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of sealer on these side bolts so that the oil doesn't leak out of the crankcase. If I can this thing to spooge out some sealant. Okay. All right, we'll get all these in, torque them down to 18 foot-pounds. Okay, I'm gonna beef all these bolts. I think it's best to go back and forth. Not quite. I'm going to beep the rest of these bolts and we'll see if it still spins. Okay, got all the side bolts torqued down and she still spins nice and free. So I guess with 2 junk motors you can make 1 good one. So I think tomorrow I'm going to come in, put all the pistons in. Okay, it's the next day. Got a rainy day out there. It's storming pretty good. So I took all the pistons home and scraped out all the carbon out of the ring grooves. That takes a while. If you're ever going to do a cheap rebuild, be prepared to do a lot of scraping on the rings. But got the ring compressor, bucket of oil to dip the pistons in, rod bearings, assembly lube. So I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting these pistons in here. Alright, got number 1 ready to go in. Hopefully we won't break no rings. There we go. Let's see if we can push this on down. Get under here. And hold on a minute. Oh, we're almost there. Alright, give me the ratchet. Okay, and get number 2 in, and then we'll torque them. Okay, looked up the torque specs. I knew it was 47, but they're saying to go to 30 first, so we're going to go to 30 and then go to 47. See if we can beat these. Yeah, still ain't beeped. Okay, we got a good beep there. Another one there. Let's see, we can go back and forth. Bring it up to about 20. This one's kind of loose. Okay, and now we can go to 30. Okay. Alright, now we can go ahead and bring it up to 47. Whoa, way too far. Come on back down. One more. 47. Okay. Not quite. No? 46. 47. Okay. Nope. 46, 8. 47. Okay. Nope. 46. 47. 43, 44, 45. 47. Alrighty. Now we can go ahead and get the rest of our pistons in and torque them down. got all of our pistons in, and we beeped all of the rod bolts. Everything's all tightened down, and it turns over really nicely, and everything seems to be okay so far. So it's amazing what you can do with a junkyard motor. A little bit of cleaning and well, okay, a lot of cleaning and just a few parts so far, just rings and bearings, and we pretty much got a short block. And so now it's timing chain time, and we've got the new retaining cover with the gasket, which is very important, and it came with new bolts with Loctite, and got a timing chain set, cheapest one on eBay. I think it was 15 bucks. Looks like it'll work though. So we're gonna go ahead and get our timing chain on there, and after that, oil pump. Okay, first thing we want to do is get this camshaft retaining plate on here, and the interweb says for these countersink bolts that it's 11 foot-pounds, and they come with Loctite on them already. So we're gonna get these buzzed down and torque them and get that sealed up. Now it says 18 foot-pounds for the ones that have bolt heads, the older style. So we're going with 11 foot-pounds. So alright. Not gonna be much. 11 foot-pounds. So whoa, that's already passed. Well, at least they're tight. All right, I think we're gonna go with that. Okay, as you can see here, we got our timing marks lined up dot to dot, both sprockets on, and I got the retaining bolts slathered up with Loctite, and we're going to torque these to 26 foot-pounds, and come on, stay on there. Okay. Let's get this adjusted. There we go. All right. All right, that's one. That's two. That's three. Alrighty. Now we're going to go ahead and pack our oil pump with Vaseline. It's kind of an old school thing. I've been doing it for years and years. So, going to get packing with some Vaseline. Yeah, you got puppy dogs milling around. Okay, getting the oil pump all packed up with grease. Okay, now that you got some in there, you got to spin it, and if it pushes it out, you're going the wrong direction. And you ain't got it packed in there enough. You got to mash some more in there. Get it way down in there. Yeah, there's a big air pocket. Now try to turn it. Still ain't. You gotta pack it in there more. Squish it way down in there. Yep. It's got air. You just farted. Just gob it in there. Okay, yeah, that's a big gob. Yeah, fine with that. Alright, now try turning it. Here, let me turn it. Oh yeah, it's getting, it's pushing out. Yeah, there we go. We gotta go this way. Alright, squish it down some more. Should be sucking it in. Okay, we're going to keep packing this until it comes out the other hole. Okay, we have successfully filled it with Vaseline. You can see it's oozing out right there. So, I think it's good to install. Okay, it is the next weekend, and we sent out our heads to the machine shop to get surfaced. They did a really nice job. It's really smooth. And I've already got this one with the valves lapped. I still have to do this one. And then of course reassemble them. We got new freeze plugs and seals. So I think we have everything we need to get the heads together. But first I want to get the engine all buttoned up with the front cover, oil pan, rear cover. And we've got to get this oil pump shimmed up so that it's not setting off center. As you can see, it has some wiggle to it. So we're going to go ahead and get the mounting bolts close, take this cover off, and use some 2000 shims in there, and then we can go ahead and tighten these down. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Okay, got a little bit of Loctite on these, and we'll just run them down to where it holds it in place, but it's still loose. Okay, now I'm going to take this cover loose. Okay, these 2000s feeler gauge, if you put them in this way, you got to have a whole lot of 2000s feeler gauges. So another method is to put them the long ways, and you only need like 2. So get this one down in here. All right, that's got it pretty much centered up in there. And now I think we can torque these down. Okay, see if our shims are going to want to come out. Yep. Let's see if we can get a hold of this one. I pushed it in too far. I need some little pliers. Okay, let's see if we can get this other shim out of here. Yeah, it's free. It's not binding against it, so I guess we got it pretty well centered up. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt this cover back on. Okay, the torque spec is 106 inch-pounds. The lowest this will go in inch-pounds is 120. So I'm going to very carefully get these torque down. Okay, it's about 113. It reads, it just won't go down that far. So there. 111. Okay. There. 106. Got that one. 114. Yeah, we're in the ballpark. Wait. Okay, that one's good. That one's good. That one's definitely good. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. That one's definitely good. And I think I already got this one, but we'll double check. Yep. Okay. She's mounted. Now we can go ahead and get our covers on. Okay, let's see if we can install this seal without messing it up. And I get it. Well, they always want to tilt crooked. So, got an installation tool. You can get these from all the auto parts stores. You know, their loaner tool. Okay. A little more on this side. Yeah, we're getting there. A little more over here. Yeah. Just a little bit higher right there. little bit more over here. Perfect. Okay, let's get this bolted on now. Okay, got our gasket on there and a couple bolts. Let's see if we can get this to cooperate. Okay, seems to be lining up. You just never know with parts these days. Some stuff just doesn't fit that good. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of these in and get them down close. Okay, we got all the bolts close. And as you can see, this is all over the place. And there's no alignment dowels. So, I'm going to go ahead and stick the balancer on, then tighten down the bolts. Okay, we got it centered up and I got it even up with the oil pan. So, now we can go ahead and torque these to 18 foot-pounds. Alrighty then. Of course, I'm going to take this balancer off and clean it up and paint it so it'll look nice. But we got it centered up. That part's done. Okay, I got the engine hoist and lifted the motor up and got the rear cover and seal on. Even bolted on the flex plate because once I get it together, I want to put a starter on it and do a compression check. So now I got to get this windage tray bolted down and the oil pickup, and we can get our oil pan on. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Okay, I went to go ahead and put this pickup tube on, and the O-ring that came with it, it's just too fat and it's wanting to roll up and not line up. So the wife was kind enough to go to the auto parts store and get another one. It fits kind of loosely on here and we don't want to be sucking air. That would suck. So I think meanwhile I'm going to go ahead and lap the valves in on the other head while I'm waiting on that. Okay, let's see if this O-ring is going to fit. Well, seems to be fitting pretty snugly. Okay, let's see if we can bolt it down. Got plenty of thread locker on here. Okay. Alrighty then. Yeah. Looks like that one went right in there. Excellent. Okay. Now that we're done with the O-ring fiasco, the next fiasco was this webbing in here, or braces, or whatever you want to call it, was hitting right over here on the pickup tube. So I ended up having to pull out this baffle, grind it down, wire wheel it to make sure there ain't no loose burrs on there, clean it out, and then put in the baffle again. So I dry fitted it again, and now it finally fits. So I think now we can finally put on our oil pan. Okay, there's two spots where these gaskets get riveted on. Okay, looks like that one held. And let's see if we can get this one. Alright. Well, it's a little bit twisted. I think we can get it to line up. So, I'm going to go ahead and finally get this pan bolted down. Okay, I got all the bolts run down. Now I'm going to beep them to 18 foot-pounds. Okay, we'll get the rest of these torqued down, and we finally got our pan on. Okay, the last cover is this lifter cover, I guess you would call it. And I've got the new knock sensor seals pounded in. And hopefully this will line up. Okay, so far so good. See if we can get a few bolts in it. Alright, I'm going to get the rest of the bolts in this and torque it down. Okay, I got my cover all torqued down, and I stuck the old knock sensors in there. They didn't look too bad, but I have this old school tester, and it tells you to connect the yellow lead to the sensor and the black lead to the ground and tap on something, and these lights should flash. So, okay, that one's good. Let's see if we can connect it to this one. Yep, it's flashing, so we got two good sensors. That'll save us a couple bucks. So, I think we'll just have to do a continuity test on the wiring harness, and we should be good to go. Okay, now that we got our short block all assembled and buttoned up, this will be a good time to end this video. Next time around, we're going to get our lifters put in, assemble our heads, get them torqued down, and we'll almost have a motor. So, we appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see y'all next time.